quick update. If you saw our last video on Iran, we broke down how Trump hit Iran's nuclear sites and somehow it ended up with a ceasefire. But now, this thing just kind of blew wide open. CNN is now getting exposed for a leak. The FBI is getting involved. And honestly, I'm still trying to figure it all out just like y'all. But let's watch Pete Hegseth destroy CNN.
Yeah. There's a reason the president calls out fake news for what it is. These pilots, these refuelers, these fighters, these air defenders, the skill and the courage it took to go into enemy territory flying 36 hours on behalf of the American people and the world to take out a nuclear program is beyond what anyone in this audience can fathom. And then the instinct of CNN, the instinct of the New York Times is to try to find a way to spin it for their own political reasons to try to hurt President Trump or our country. They don't care what the troops think. They don't care what the world thinks. They want to spin it to try to make him look bad based on a leak. Of course, we've all seen plenty of leakers. And what do leakers do? They have agendas. And what do? Do they share the whole information or just the part that they want to introduce? And when they introduce that preliminary report that's deemed to be a low assessment, you know what a low assessment means? Low confidence in the data in that report. And why is there low confidence? Because all of the evidence of what was just bombed by 12 30,000-pound bombs is buried under a mountain, devastated and obliterated. So if you want to make an assessment of what happened at Fordo, you better get a big shovel and go really deep, because Iran's nuclear program is obliterated. And somebody somewhere is trying to leak something to say, oh, with low confidence, we think maybe it's moderate. Those that dropped the bombs precisely in the right place know exactly what happened when that exploded. And you know who else knows? Iran. That's why they came to the table right away, because their nuclear capabilities have been set back beyond what they thought were possible because of the courage of a commander-in-chief who led our troops, despite what the fake news wants to say.
But you're not just...
This is Pete Hegseth live at NATO. And he just straight up destroyed CNN and the New York Times for lying about the strike. I mean, just off rip, he completely blasted them for literally trying to sabotage the entire story, not just against Trump, but against the whole country. Bro, how does a news report turn into a federal investigation? I need y'all to think about that, because it gets way nastier. I know I'm interrupting right now, but you really need to hear this. You know about them spam calls and text messages that you annoyed at getting? Yeah, you want to know why you're getting them? Sit tight, I got you. You see, what's happening is these big tech companies, they're not doing a good job of keeping our data safe. I feel like they're not even trying. Did you know that Bank of America recently had a breach where a vendor mishandled documents exposing customer data like social security numbers? And could you believe that they didn't inform you about this because they felt like it wasn't a good time for them to do it? They waited maybe even a year to inform you. What's also included in that stolen data is full names, addresses, email addresses, your credit card information. And I don't want nobody having that much on me. And this is why I have to bring to your attention the sponsor of today's video, Aura.com. You see, Aura alerts me if my data is ever breached, giving me fast fraud alerts and removes my info from data broker websites to cut down on spam. Aura also offers transaction monitoring, VPN, antivirus protection, parental controls, and identity theft insurance, all in one affordable app. Listen, if my info was ever compromised, I wouldn't even worry about it because I know I got Aura in the back keeping me safe. And this is why I can no longer allow yourself or your family to stay unprotected. So in order to ensure that protection, I'm going to need you to head over to aura.com/kingdomreacts right now, where you can get your first 2 weeks for free. You heard that right. And I'll do you one better. The link will be in the description waiting on you. Now look at this. 5 days ago, CNN swore Iran was years away from building a nuke, but after the strike, suddenly it's only a setback by a few months.
This timeline of Iran being a few weeks away from a nuclear bomb is in direct contradiction to CNN's reporting. According to U.S. intelligence assessments, Iran is 3 years away from being able to produce a nuclear weapon if they wanted to. So the facts on Iran getting a nuclear weapon do not bear out the claim at the heart of what has put the world on the verge of world war. It only set back the Iranian nuclear program by months. We got to call it like it is. It's a big deal. This timeline.
Oh, wow. Y'all, please make it make sense to me. If they were years away, why does this strike even matter then? And if it only set them back a few months, how was Iran years away in the first place? Somebody's lying. And it's not hard to see who. But hold up. It flips even harder, y'all. While the media was busy running damage control, this was actually going down behind the scenes.
So we've got some breaking news here. This comes from our producer, Pat Ward, on Capitol Hill. A White House official confirms to Fox that the Trump administration plans to limit sharing classified information with Congress after someone leaked that internal assessment of Saturday's bombings of Iran's nuclear facilities. The suggestion, I mean, if you were to read between the lines there, is that the leak came from Congress. What do you think about the White House limiting the sharing of classified information with members of Congress?
Well, I think those who are on the intelligence, national security related committees like myself should have access to classified information. It's been very strong piece through strength that if you don't comply, we're willing to bomb you again. And I think that's a very strong message.
So we've got some breaking news here. This comes from our producer, Pat Ward, on Capitol Hill.
By the way, I wasn't the one who skipped that, y'all. That was the guy who posted this. They the one who skipped this. Let me back it up a little bit, though, so we can get back to that.
So we've got some breaking news here. This comes from our producer, Pat Ward, on Capitol Hill. A White House official confirms to Fox that the Trump administration plans to limit sharing classified information with Congress after someone leaked that internal assessment of Saturday's bombings of Iran's nuclear facilities. The suggestion, I mean, if you were to read between the lines there, is that the leak came from Congress. What do you think about the White House limiting the sharing of classified information with members of Congress?
Well, I think those who are on the intelligence, national security related committees like myself should have access to classified information. We are the policy makers. So for us to make a wise decision, we need access to that material. I don't know who leaked this. Whoever did should be prosecuted to the fullest extent. I think it's always treason when you leak classified information like what was done. But I do think Article 1, separate, equal branch of government, we will have.
I'm not sure why this clip was clipped like that, but, you know, it is what it is. We got the point of it all. The point is the leak was so serious. Trump literally cut off Congress from classified intel. Bro, how does Congress leak military info and the media just runs with it like it's absolutely nothing? Again, that just went from fake news to felony real quick. Now, here's Karoline Leavitt, the White House press secretary. She holds absolutely nothing. I mean, nothing back.
And President Trump is absolutely right. And he returns to Washington today after a historic NATO summit where he has gotten our NATO allies to finally pay their fair share thanks to his strong leadership on the world stage. And I'd like to take a step back and just acknowledge the history that has been made in the course of the last week thanks to President Trump's strength. 5 days ago, the rogue Iranian regime possessed the capability to create a nuclear weapon that threatened the United States, the state of Israel, and the entire world. And presidents for decades have said, dating back to Bill Clinton, that Iran cannot possess a nuclear weapon. And because of the decisive leadership of President Trump and the skill and the excellence of our United States military, that imminent threat to the United States and the world has been demolished because of the successful operation on Saturday night. And not only that, but within the span of 48 hours, President Trump was able to turn around and negotiate a successful ceasefire between Israel and Iran, ending this war after just 12 days. No other president in history could have ever dreamed of such a success, and that's exactly why the fake news media is now trying to demean and undermine the president. And we've seen this playbook be run before. You have hostile actors within the intelligence community who illegally leak bits and pieces of an intelligence assessment to push a fake news narrative. And that's what the CNN story was yesterday. And it's not a coincidence that it was written by the exact same CNN reporter who wrote the original story, falsely alleging that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation. The American public are smarter than this, and they should know the truth. President Trump completely and totally obliterated the capability of Iran to produce a nuclear weapon, and the world is safer today because of his historic efforts.
Now, she just made it real clear. Iran's nuclear program has been obliterated. But notice, The media, I haven't seen them backtrack. They double down, not one correction, not one apology, just spin. And if the strike didn't work like CNN claimed, then why did Iran immediately come to the table? Feels like less journalism and more sabotage, y'all. Now, and here's where it stops becoming just media loss. It turns into a full-blown criminal case.
They took bits and pieces from a leaked top secret intelligence report. And by the way, I understand the FBI is investigating who was the source of that leak because it's an illegal leak to CNN. And this is the same fake news CNN reporter who wrote the story alleging that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation, which we know is one of the greatest political hoaxes this country and the American public have ever seen. And that CNN story does not change the facts. There was a total and complete obliteration of Iran's nuclear facilities. And because of the president's strike, because of the precision of our United States military and this perfectly executed mission, Iran no longer has the capability to produce a nuclear weapon as imminently as they did prior to the strike. The American people and the world should be grateful for that, and it's disgusting that CNN and the New York Times are disparaging not just the president, but our brave men and women who helped conduct this highly successful operation.
And what kind of consequence could the leaker face?
They double down.
They should go to jail. They took bits
They
and
should go to
pieces
jail. I
from
know
a
that's
leaked
right.
top secret.
They double down, she double down. I want to let y'all hear that walk off one more time. I interrupted it.
Brave men and women who helped conduct this highly successful operation.
And what kind of consequence could the leaker face?
They should go to jail. They took
It's gonna be the highlight walk off for the year right there, man. So the FBI officially investigating. They're coming for whoever leaked this classified information to CNN. Ask yourself, why would the government stop briefing Congress? I wonder if they know where the leak actually came from. And why would they stop briefing Congress unless they knew exactly where the leak came from? I don't know. I'm just pondering. I gotta ask the questions, y'all. See, this ain't just CNN caught lying. This is them caught leaking, y'all. There's a big difference. And in any case, if you thought she was bluffing, nope, not at all. Let's watch Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump make it even more clear, y'all.
Do you have something to say about that?
Well, Mr. President, when you talk to the people who built the bombs, understand what those bombs can do, and deliver those bombs, they landed precisely where they were supposed to. So it's a flawless mission.
Flawless.
Right down where we knew they needed to enter. And given the 30,000 pounds of explosives and capability of those munitions, it was devastation underneath Fordo. And the amount of munitions, 6 per location, any assessment that tells you it was something otherwise is speculating with other motives. And we know that because when you actually look at the report, by the way, it was a top secret report, it was preliminary, it was low confidence. All right, so this isn't, you make assessments based on what you know.
And it said it could be very devastating, very serious.
Moderate to severe, and we believe far more likely severe and obliterated.
Is there a leak investigation? Is there a leak investigation?
Of course. We're doing a leak investigation with the FBI right now because this information is for internal purposes, battle damage assessments, and CNN and others are trying to spin it to make the president look bad when this was an overwhelming success.
It's official. The FBI's on it. Let's just hope we actually get some results. You know, because this is national security now. But, bro, how deep does this go? And then Trump goes full savage on CNN. Or on a CNN reporter behind the leak story, at least. He wrote, let me make sure I get y'all on the screen. I don't know how you say her last name. Bertrand? Natasha Bertrand should be fired from CNN. I watched her for 3 days for doing fake news. She should be immediately reprimanded and then thrown out like a dog. She lied on the laptop from hell story, and now she lied on the nuclear site story, attempting to destroy our Patriot pilots by making them look bad when, in fact, they did a great job and hit pay dirt. Total obliteration. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Total obliteration. She should not be allowed to work at fake news CNN. It's people like her who destroyed the reputation of a once great nation. Her slant was so obviously negative. Besides, she doesn't have what it takes to be on camera. Ooh. to being on-camera correspondent. Not even close. Ouch. Fire Natasha, he says. Thrown out like a dog, huh? I mean, he really said that. Oh, that's wild. I'm just going to say that's wild. Oh, and just to show you how bad the media is taking L's, check this out. Arthur ID Delilah, something like that. Straight up humiliates Joy Reid. Let's just say that. And Abby Phillips, live on CNN at that.
What's your evidence that Mamdani would return New York City to the 1970s hellhole Times Square? What is your evidence of
It's
that?
very simple. So he wants to raise taxes on people who make the most money. What eventually is going to happen is you're going to lose that tax base. Once you lose that tax base, our bonds will get degraded. Now the city budget will not be substantial enough to subsidize not only the cops but the fire department, the sanitation department. Once you start losing Wall Street and people who pay $11,000, $12,000 a month to live on the Upper East Side, you're done.
Let me ask
you. And you go back to the 70s when Gerald Ford said to New York, drop dead.
Okay, but
and
hold on, Arthur.
Crisis.
But Arthur, just as somebody who is just listening to you, you raise the taxes on wealthy people in this city.
I don't care what you say. Abby just tried to save her. He's seen her getting obliterated. That's why she tried to interject like that, y'all. We ain't stupid.
Just as somebody who is just listening to you, you raise the taxes on wealthy people in this city, maybe a couple percent, right?
They're already at 50%.
Yeah, they're already
53%.
and that's exactly my point.
They're
already paying some of the high. I know, Arthur, but Arthur, they are already paying right at this moment some of the highest taxes in the country, and you think that 1 or 2% is going to cause a mass exodus out of New York?
Anna just said it's correct. It already has started.
I just want to be clear that that's what you're saying, because I think that seems pretty extreme.
Because he's also not going to focus on crime. Right now, you have Police Commissioner Tisch and John Chell, the chief of the department. Crime in the city of New York right now is set to break all records as the lowest ever in recorded history for shootings and murders. Once that starts going up in the other direction, and the tax base is gone, and sanitation is gone, and schools are gone.
Why does crime go up?
Embarrassing. You could tell she was melting down as he was, explaining to her what happened. It's like everything is collapsing over there at CNN, man. And as Carthy pointed out, it's a real shame Scott wasn't there. Oh, my gosh. If he was there for Joy, oh, my gosh. Now, after all this, after the strikes, the leaks, and the media scrambling, FBI investigations, I want y'all to see what Trump closes with. But first, this is President Erdogan and the U.S. President Trump, and they're all smiles after the Iran-U.S. agreement. The leader won't let go of the blonde head without a fight. I'm not sure what this post means, everybody. Maybe y'all can provide some clarity for me. That's really what I had this in here for. But yeah, again, after all this, like I said, the FBI investigations and all that, I'm trying to see what Trump had to initially say about this. What he had to say about this. I'm sorry.
Do you want to see regime change in Iran?
No. If there was, there was. But no, I don't want it. I'd like to see everything calm down as quickly as possible. Regime change takes chaos. And ideally, we don't want to see so much chaos. So we'll see how it does. The Iranians are very good traders, very good business people, and they got a lot of oil. They should be fine. They should be able to rebuild and do a good job. They're never going to have nuclear, but other than that, they should do a great job.
Do you want to see regime?
Calm, direct. I don't want a regime change. I just want things to calm down. And honestly, I'm sitting here like, how does this man pull off one of the wildest weeks in modern foreign policy and close it with "I just want peace"? Because he's Trump. He makes things happen. But look, you tell me, is this CNN just getting exposed? Was this something way bigger? Because I'm still trying to process all of it. Drop your thoughts below. Go check on somebody today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.